Hey guys, so we're going to quickly talk about New Mexico Governor Grisham's illegitimate health emergency declaration and some of the procedures that she violated in order to initiate the health emergency. Now, on September 8th, 2 days ago, Governor Grisham went public and declared a health emergency due to an increase in gun violence. Now, according to the definition of a public health emergency, when you go to the act, the statute, the state statute, and look at the definition of a public health emergency, nowhere in the definition does it say the word violence or riot or anything like that. A public health emergency is just as it sounds. The Public Health Act was designed to help protect people against toxins that are released, infectious diseases and things like that. Nowhere in the act does it mention gun violence or anything of that matter. And not just that, but when you look at the purpose and the scope of the Emergency Health Act, the Public Health Emergency Act, the purpose of it was to provide for emergency response while also protecting individual rights and civil liberties. So the reason why she invoked this Public Health Emergency Act and the powers therein wasn't to protect against public health. It was specifically to infringe upon civil liberties. And she even said that in her broadcast, in her interview. So it flies in the face of the purpose and the scope of the Public Health Emergency Act. It flies right in the face of the purpose. The definition of public health emergency was not even met. And not just that, in her declaration, she also invoked the powers of the All Hazard Emergency Act, which is where she is attempting to derive the power to force you to keep your guns at home, right? Under the All Hazard Emergency Act, Section 18, I think it's Part 5 or something like that, the governor is given the authority under the All Hazard Emergency Act to basically force you to keep your guns at home. You're not allowed to bring your guns out in public, basically. But there was a procedural violation that she made when she invoked those powers, right? In order to declare an all-hazard emergency or to proclaim an all-hazard emergency, you need to be requested assistance. And when I say you, I mean her, the governor. The governor needs to be requested assistance from a mayor, a sheriff, or a majority of the legislators of a town or a community or whatever. They have to ask her for her assistance, and they have to ask her to declare an all-hazard emergency. But nowhere in her declaration did she say that that was the case. No, on the contrary, she said that she was declaring an all-hazard emergency in order to take the power to tell you to keep your guns home. She was declaring it basically at her whim because she consulted the Secretary of Health. I'm sorry, but nowhere in the All Hazard Emergency Act does it say that you can declare an all hazard emergency by consulting the Secretary of Health. It's not in there. It doesn't provide for that. If you're going to declare an all hazard emergency, there needs to be an all hazard emergency, not just an increase in violence, in criminal activity. It doesn't provide for that. A turf war, yes, maybe. But still, you she would have to have a curfew in that one specific area, not an entire city. Not an entire city. So not only have I explained to you on the face her level of deception, right? But I've shown you how and why it's illegitimate because of the procedural violations that she's committed here. If you didn't catch my live stream last night where I show you the statutes and break it down as succinctly as I can, go check my channel and watch the live stream from last night. We take a deep dive into what the law actually says and how and why she could actually be charged with conspiracy against rights. Not just her, but also the Secretary of Health. This is very serious, right? If somebody in Albuquerque dies because of her illegitimate declaration, she could face very, very serious consequences here. I'm tired of all this political BS, right? Until we start filing criminal charges against these tyrants, this kind of thing is not going to stop. It's not going to slow down. There's no way that an increase in violence constitutes a health emergency. There's no way. It doesn't meet the definition. The purpose and scope of the act that she invoked does not supply that power to her. She is going outside of the purpose of the act. The purpose of the act was specifically to protect your rights during a health emergency, not to infringe upon your rights. She's invoking this health emergency for the specific purpose of violating your rights. And that is precisely why it is a conspiracy against rights. She said it during the live stream on KOB4. I mean, it's an hour-long live stream, and she basically said it straight up that she's doing this and to make people not be able to carry their firearms to practice their Second Amendment right outside of their residence, right? So, obviously, there are things that everybody knows, right? The right to keep and bear arms, right, means that you have a right to carry it. The Bruin decision acknowledged that, right? But what people aren't talking about in the media, and why I'm so pissed off, is that it is apparent, it is obvious on its face that she is being deceptive. She is not using the law properly. She's invoking these powers using procedures that are not provided. These are procedural violations that are obvious, and law enforcement officers ought to know these problems. And if you are in Albuquerque, you ought to be filing criminal charges against this tyrant for conspiracy against your rights, not just against her, but also against the Secretary of Health. Because that's precisely what it is. Until we're willing to start spending money on lawsuits to lock these people up and put them where they belong, this stuff's not going to stop, guys. You've got to get pissed off. This kind of stuff has got to piss you off and make you move. If this doesn't piss you off and get you up and off of your lazy boy, I don't know what will. It's obvious that this is a illegitimate power grab, and she's attempting to usurp not just your Second Amendment right, but also your First Amendment right, freedom of assembly. Because now she has the power, right? Well, illegitimately, supposedly has the power to prevent you from assembling too. Anyways, guys, I don't know. Several procedural violations, doesn't meet the definition, right? deceptive right on its face. She referred to data that is 5 years old to declare an emergency today, right? She's using data from 5 years ago to justify declaring an emergency this year. It's from 2018, guys. The data that she pointed to is over 5 years old. Whatever. Anyways, I don't know what else to say. I'm pissed off, as you can tell. She needs to be charged criminally, and I hope somebody in Albuquerque or a group of people in Albuquerque get together and actually do that. If y'all just put a couple $100 together, get a good criminal prosecutor, do it. Charge her ass, and charge the Secretary of Health, because what they did is potentially a conspiracy against your rights. 10 years in prison. Pretty serious event, or pretty serious consequences there. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you liked the video, hit that thumbs up on your way out. Share the video with your friends. If you want to support the channel, there's a link in the description box where you can do that. You can buy me a coffee. I'd really appreciate it. I'm a small channel, and put a lot of work in the live streams and the prepper guides for you all. And, definitely would appreciate it if you support the channel. Anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. As always, don't forget, help out your neighbors. Bye.